like I said, sometimes I log into YouTube and I see our video show up, and I see us in this moment right here. I'm like, oh wow, that's what everybody sees at first. The first thing they see is how we help them get a house.
How we sit down.
How we sit down.
All right, guys, come on in. Have a seat. Waiting for someone to come in so we can start talking about the good stuff.
There's some good stuff. There's some really crazy stuff going on, man. Some crazy stuff, crazy things that are gonna help. Oh, come on.
All right, everyone, you're here because you want information on how to buy a house. You want to know how to finance it. You want to know, can I buy a single-family residence? Can I buy a condo? Can I buy a townhome? All the thoughts, questions, comments, concerns that you may have about buying homes, load up the chat box. Put it right here. We're going to answer all of your questions in no time.
You can buy all of them. You can buy a condo. You can get a VA house, VA loan. You can get a FHA loan. You can get a Fannie Mae loan. You can get a Freddie Mac loan. How can I get a house with bad credit? It's actually pretty simple.
Vicente.
Fix your credit. Fix your credit, Vicente. How bad is bad credit? Bad credit is relative. Depends on what that is. Here's the problem, Vicente. If you have really bad credit, you earned it. You earned it. Somebody trusted you. You didn't pay it back on time. So the way you fix that, is start paying your bills on time, and then get into some type of credit repair. Because there's a quick way to do it. It's not like it'll happen in a day or two. In 2-3 months, I've seen some dramatic changes in credit. Yeah. And you do have to know how to deal with it. It's not just simple.
And you have to deal with it.
Yep.
You can't just let it get better. You got to be proactive with it, Vicente.
Yep. And we'll help you even. We'll help you. What's the current interest rate right now? Tanya. Tanya. So, VA 30-year fixed right now. If you went to the New American Funding website right now, at this moment, right now, you would see 5.875. 5.875. Holy smokes, 5.875. If you went to the New American Funding website right now, you'd see FHA, 5.875. What? You'd see a conventional 15-year at 5.625. And you'd see a conventional 30-year at 6.375. Now, here's something very important. Very important. Fed just dropped the basis points, 25 basis points yesterday. And they're on track to bring the Fed funds rate down to 2.5%. But there's some freaking tectonic plate movement happening in the mortgage industry and in the financial industry. So what's going to happen? I think it's going to get better, but I think it's going to get turbulent for a little while, because I don't know if you heard, but there was this little, the country did a thing. They did a thing, and that country did a thing, and then all of a sudden, the thing changed everything. What's that say?
If you liked it, you should have put a ring on it.
If you liked it, you should put a ring on it. You ever heard that?
Once,
have you ever heard that? Maybe
life.
once or twice in your life.
Yeah.
If you like it, then you should have put it.
All right, guys, don't hesitate. If you're ready to get started on your home loan, go to the link in the bio, select apply for a home loan now. Mm-hmm. And for you, Vicente, if you guys don't have the best credit, you know there's challenges. There's a link up there that says Fix My Credit. You can get that started too. Don't wait. And
did you know you can build a house from scratch, from buy the land, pull the plans together, pay the contractor, have that thing built, put a roof on it, put solar on it.
If you like it, you should put a roof on it.
And if you like, you should put a roof on it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, boom, live in it. You can start from scratch, from dirt. I found some dirt. I want to put a house on it.
Grace. What happened? What
thing? Okay, so there's this thing happens every now and then. And, well, can you hear me now? If you've seen the map of the United States, there's this red thing, and it's not Verizon coverage, because this is even better than Verizon coverage.
Verizon coverage is crap.
This whole America, the coverage is all red with a few spots of blue. And what happened is about to change probably the globe. Like, it sounds like it's just a small thing, but it's not. It's a big thing, and it's going to affect our economic situation, and it's also going to affect your ability to buy a house. Mm-hmm. And I'm not quite sure how it's going to affect it. Mm-hmm. It might actually make it worse for a little while.
Maybe.
It might for a little while. Mm-hmm. But I think it's going to get better long term.
Yep.
I'm really confident of that. And that thing that we did, that whole Verizon, can you hear me now? Oh my God, it's not a small thing. Because if you get an established guy who goes, hey, I'm coming in and I'm taking over, and then the other side goes, I'm coming in and I'm taking over, I'm coming in, I'm taking over, I'm coming over, taking over. Now here's what you got. When the guys come in and take over from the economic perspective and how it affects you on a house, is they kind of run with the system that still exists. Why? Because they don't know any better. They've never been there before. They have no idea. Can you imagine that first time they sit you down and they go, well, you know, here's what we know about aliens. You're like, whoa, how come never told anybody? Not a good idea. Here's what we know about Kennedy. Okay. Why didn't you tell anybody? Not a good idea. Here's what we know about, and you got to sit back there and go, holy smokes. Your head's about to explode because you get all this stuff. Cool, don't worry about it. We got everything on track. Just appoint these people and we'll get good to go. So it leans from left to right to left to right. Wow. Why is that different this time? Oh my God. How does it affect your house? Right now, before this guy takes office, Jay Powell, who is the president of the chairman of the Federal Reserve, is already going like this with the orange man. Already doing that, like boom, like this. And no kidding, it's happening. But here's the reality of it. When you go left and you go right because some other guy took over, it's kind of like, oh, we're the same way. Oh, we're leaning to the left, we're leaning to the right. This guy's already been there. He's already had that shock. And he goes, you know what? I'm not appointing the old school guys. I'm bringing in a whole new drove. And this guy is in the crosshairs, if you believe the media. This guy's in the crosshairs. Actually, the press corps that happened with him, when he dropped the basis points, everybody should be going, hey, you know what? You just dropped 25 basis points. That's great. And he's like, yeah, you know, I don't know if you understand. It's a victory. Yeah. Are you going to get fired? Are you going to resign? He doesn't like you. Do you like him? Are you worried he's going to fire you? And he's like, I'm not going to comment. I'm going to comment. He can't legally fire me. I'm not going to comment. He can't fire me. I'm not going to comment. He can't. That's happening. That's like legitimately happening. Why is that important? Because if you're buying a house, you need to know that this guy right here is forecasting the rates to hit 2.5%. 2.5% Fed funds rate. So he's forecasting that. But he's forecasting that under this guy's administration and this guy's thought process. But the orange man's walking in and going, hey, I don't think you should still be here. And he's not going to say anything. The orange man's not going to say anything till it's time. And when it's time, he really doesn't. I checked. He doesn't have the power to fire him. He does not. But the appointment for the Federal Reserve is up halfway through the term. And he gets to appoint an entire new Federal Reserve. It has to make it through the Senate. Guess who owns the Senate? Holy smokes. What does that mean? As I look at it from an interest rate perspective, it means that there's going to be turmoil for a while. The market does not respond well to uncertainty. Interest rates might go up a little bit. They might go up a little bit. But eventually, they will come down because it's healthy. It's like getting off sugar and going to eat right, exercise, sleep, lots of water, and relax now and then. And then when you do that, the economy gets better. Boom.
Susan Weaver, is it true if you've been self-employed for 5 years, getting the conventional loan, you only need 1 year of tax return?
Oh, Susanna Weaver, it sounds like you've been doing some research.
Or a loan officer.
Or a loan officer. Yeah, if you're a loan officer. So it is true under one scenario. Probably just one, right? Freddie LP accept. So that's called a Freddie. That's Freddie Mac. That's LP, which is loan prospector. And that's accept with only using 1 year. Now, why would that happen? You have a really good FICO score and a really good debt to income ratio. If you have both of those things, you could get what we look for is called a Freddie 1 year LP accept. And in that case, I only have to show 1 year taxes. But I do have to prove, my CPA has to say, hey, listen, yes, they have been running a successful business for 5 years. That has to happen. Your accountant, your CPA, whoever you use to your taxes, somebody other than you has to vouch that you've been doing it. But done correctly, yes, you can. If you got a good loan officer, that's why you know it. If you are a good loan officer, that's why you know it, and you just freaking baited us.
Yeah. All right, guys, you just heard about a 5-minute, I don't know, explanation, opinion, whatever you want to call it, of what's going to be happening in the upcoming season of real estate with the new administration and what's going on with Fed Chairman Powell. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know what your guys' thoughts are. ask us the questions that may affect you personally when it comes to buying a house or financing. So let us know, guys. Grace, what about jumbo loans?
Do we do jumbo loans, or can we do a Freddie 1-year LP accept on a jumbo loan? So jumbo loans are different. Jumbo loans are way different because the money's so big. The banks are like, yeah, you can't do 5%. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. We want 10%, or sometimes 20%. And if you're buying a $7 million house and you're like, hey, can I get a down payment assistance program? They're like, yeah, you can't even get a jumbo loan. It's not happening. But if you're buying a $7 million house and you go, hey, listen, hey, 700 grand, I don't know if I can come up with that. They're like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have a $7 million house. So jumbo loans are different, but that actually works in your favor sometimes. It works in your favor a lot of times because the interest rates can get way better on a really big jumbo loan, especially if you have a good loan to value. If you have a good loan to value on a big jumbo, the rates can go really low. I'm like, that jumbo rate is better than a conventional conforming rate. How does that happen? They're like, because they're putting down $3 million. Oh, okay. That's a good reason. So yes, we do jumbo loans, and yeah, they're a little bit different, but we're very competitive on jumbo loans.
Yeah, LAF 7. Rates going down. Looks like America's getting great again.
Yeah. We're going to see what happens at the December meeting. All of a sudden became ridiculously important. Not a little bit important, ridiculously important. Why? Because if we were just changing administration, I would be like, okay, cool. Yeah, you guys are changing administration. So what? No big deal. Cool. It's going to move left wing, right, left, right. No big deal. But this guy's fighting with the orange man already. Like, not straight up fighting, like Letitia James fighting with him. He's like, yeah, this guy can't fire me. And he's out in the press corps because the press corps is pressing him. Like, what if President Trump tries to fire you? Legally can't do it. He said that. Not legal, not permissible by law. Somebody said, what did you just say? And he slowed down and he said, not permissible by law.
Big man.
He was big man.
Big man. Ashley 1922. Interest rates in the 4s would be great. That would be awesome, Ashley.
I agree.
Ashley, did we qualify you? I see your name all the time. I don't remember when we spoke or not.
I hope we did. Ashley, we try and do a really good job for people. We actually got one yesterday. No, about 3 days ago. Monday? I think it was Monday. They sent me an LE, and they're like, hey, this is the rate. And I'm like, I don't know if I believe that rate. And I called Chris over, and I'm like, tell me where you find holes in this. And he goes, no, it's a builder, man. They're giving up $20,000 in concession and buying the rate down with $12,000 of it.
Manfro.
And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. They're giving up $20,000 and buying down the rate $12,000? Yeah, nobody can compete with that. And I was like, yeah, that's right. And I told the guy, I'm like, hey, listen, you got a bang up deal here, man. This is a really good deal. It's a real good deal. It would be a disservice for me to try and take that loan away. If I could honestly compete, I would compete. But in this situation, you're good, man. You're good. If it changes, call me, though.
Angel, how long does it take when it goes into underwriting?
Angel. Usually 24 hours, maybe 48 hours. It's not very long in underwriting, but that's if you understand the business. Because when the loan officer kicks it to the processor, that's a different step. So the processor digs in and puts all the dots on things, crosses the T's, it makes everything perfect before they submit it to an underwriter. Because the underwriter's not going to do any of the work, not any of it. So when they submit it to an underwriter, it's like good to go. The underwriter's like, boom, here's my VOE, verification of employment, here's my this, here's my that, here's my this. Cool, I'm going to underwrite it. Usually 24 to 48 hours in this market. Sometimes when the markets get rough, 72 hours, sometimes 96 during the boom, but not long in underwriting. Never long in underwriting.
Angel, these questions are always concerning to me because you're probably in escrow, you're probably in underwriting, it's probably been a long time. Mm-hmm. Now, if we were in a busy season like 2020, 2021, yeah, it may take a day extra, maybe 2 days extra on the long end in those scenarios. But what are you dealing with, Angel? Have you been in for a long time? Was it submitted last week and you still don't have an answer? Because we might be able to give you a little bit of data that kind of clarifies where you're at, depending on your situation. So let us know. Elizabeth, manufactured home, are they a good investment property to buy?
It depends. Everything's market driven. The problem with a manufactured home is when you buy the manufactured home, you need a specific type of loan. And when you sell the manufactured home, you need a specific type of loan. So if your area is good for this specific type of home and loan, which means there are multiples around it and it's a common thing in your area, could be good. If it's a one-off, it's usually problematic. To be honest, it's usually problematic. Why? Because you're going to be like, what do you mean it's to be on a permanent foundation? I can't move it. Yeah, there's a real way to do it. It's called an engineering cert in a 433, and you got to put it on the foundation. It has to pass the codes. It has to be approved by the county or the city, whichever one, and it has to be on there the proper way. And just because it's on concrete does not mean it's on a permanent foundation from a loan perspective.
What if they use tie downs?
You could use tie downs.
Tie downs and cinder block.
You can use tie downs and cinder block, not for loans, but you know, it'll keep the wind from taking it away, that's for sure.
So name Jay Monet, thank you for the love. Sheila Monique, thank you for the love. For the rest of you, load up that chat box with all the questions that you have about buying. Give us your exact scenarios. For those of you that are ready, go to the link in the bio, select apply for a home loan now. Elizabeth, you're welcome. She said thank you.
Welcome, Elizabeth. Jay Monet can use down payment assistance when purchasing a new manufactured home and the land. No. No. One-time construct is what you're talking about, because if you're buying the land, then the only way you can do that is if you get a license. No, it doesn't have to be a licensed contractor, does it? No, you could be a contractor. You have to build it, and they have to approve every step of the way. Probably better to use a contractor unless you're really smart and you got a lot of time.
Yeah.
But if you're probably better to use a contractor. But if you're like, hey, I'm just going to move this mobile home over here, drop it on there, you know, put a bullet in the wheels, and then let it drop, and that's it. Not going to work. Not going to work. It's a really regulated process. Can work, but you have to build it from scratch. Has to have a foundation, stick built, roof. Everything has to pass all of the certs all the way through, and then the takeout loan is going to be whatever it is.
Yeah, let me give you the good news, though, Jay. Let me give you the good news. So you can do this with FHA, traditional FHA. You can do it with only 3.5% down. So however much that unit is, what's the unit's like, we've seen it for like $50,000, okay? Land, depending on how much that is, call it another $50,000. 3.5% of $100,000 is $3,500 bucks.
You're good.
So you can get that done for $3,500 bucks. Maybe cheaper depending on the cost of the unit and cost of the land. But it has to be done right. You have to do traditional FHA. You can't use down payment assistance, but it's still not that far of a reach to be able to make your dreams come true, Jay Monet.
Yeah, dreams are right there, man. Dreams are
Grab
right
them.
there. Just
reach out.
Pull them in and just like put them in your pocket. What else you got, man?
Jay Monet, land and home I'm looking at is $220,000 altogether. All right, so you're at what, $7,500 bucks?
Jay,
$7,500 bucks.
Let's do this. 7,500. Let's roll.
Still not that far of a reach.
Let's roll.
And
yeah.
Here's what's cool. Here's what's really cool. Okay, so do you have to be in city limits? No. Do you have to be somewhere where they have gas and electric hookup? No. You can be on septic. You can be on what's the gas? Propane.
Propane.
You can have
how you get electric?
Water tower. So you can be on all full rural area in the middle of nowhere.
I'll be honest. I think you need electric. I don't think there's a way to get around that.
Did I say you didn't need electric?
Yeah, you said you
said you didn't need. Okay.
Yeah, no big deal. But yeah, because I mean, I would like to be. That's entirely off the grid, and I don't think that entirely exists yet. I think if you did a Tesla battery wall, and some solar, there's a possibility.
That's a lot of money.
That's ridiculous lot of money. That's just for the panel.
Yeah. So, but we could do that, Jay. We can definitely do that for $220,000. Save yourself $8,000 for the down payment. You're gonna have closing costs. That's gonna be probably another $6,000 somewhere in there for that purchase price.
What city and state? That's a good question.
All
what
of
city?
You. What city and state?
Jay, what city and state do you want to do this in? Because there's some places where 220 isn't even gonna get you, not even like the parcel to do it. 220, like Los
possible.
Angeles.
Georgia.
Register Georgia. Okay. Georgia probably, yeah, you can pull that off in Georgia.
How big a piece of land? How much does it cost? And then $50,000 for a manufactured home. That's reasonable.
That is reasonable.
It's not huge.
That is reasonable.
Tiny home.
All right.
You know, I don't know about tiny homes. Because there's square footage restrictions with the city code. So I don't know about tiny home, manufactured home for sure. Flip Dev. Best way to see a return on a HELOC. Have a about $300,000 in equity.
It's easy. You're going to love this because it's easy. It's so easy. It's so easy to see a good return. So if you borrow $300,000 a month, and let's just say you're paying 1%, $300,000. So if you're borrowing $300,000, paying 1%, you get $3,000 monthly payment is what it's going to be on a $300,000 at a, I'm doing that right?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
1% interest only loan.
Oh, okay.
1% interest only loan. At a 1% interest only loan on 300,000, you're gonna be paying 3,000 a month. 3,000 a month on the 300. Very simple. How do you get a good return? Make sure that whatever you invest that money in gives you 4,000 a month. As long as you can do that, you will make a good return on your $3,000 a month payment.
All right.
Yeah.
See? J Monet, 5.5 acres, $55,000.
Dude.
That's badass.
HELOCs are at 8%, 9%. You're correct. 8%, 9%. So, what does that mean? And those are interest only, by the way. No, HELOCs are not interest only. No.
You can.
Yeah. You can do an IO HELOC. Yeah, you can. IO HELOC. So, if you took out 100,000 and it was at 8% every month, $800. If you took out 200,000, 1,600. Took out 300,000, 2,400. So just make sure that whatever you put your money in gives you more than what it costs.
2401.
Done.
Yeah. Tiny town. Okay, tiny town, not tiny home. Tiny town. Got it. So 55K,
Yeah.
5.5 acres in a tiny town. That's pretty badass.
Pretty bad.
Not a whole lot of people, not a whole lot of idiots driving down the street, not a neighbor playing
Pretty
loud music right next to you.
badass.
Issues like I'm dealing with right now.
Yes. You are?
Oh, man.
What do you got?
I got people bumping music at night.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. No. Did you do that?
Yeah,
Did
man.
you?
Sometimes
Oh,
they
shit,
have-
you're gonna get
they're-
shot.
They're
You're
idiots.
gonna get shot.
They're idiots.
Do you know you live in the IE? You'll get
might.
shot, dude. You
I
get
might.
shot.
That's
There
right.
was a Lamborghini right lived right next to you. I'm not gonna lie.
He
I'm
moved.
like, dude, you have a guy driving a Lamborghini right next to you.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. What do you say to that? He's like, nice car. That's about it. Yeah.
It was a nice car. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, guys, load up that chat box. Let us know what you're thinking right now. Let us know about your scenarios, questions, comments, concerns, advice. Maybe you just have something you want to get off your chest because of what's going on in politics right now.
Can you hear me now?
Let us know. Fill it up, because if you don't, guess what we're going to do? Bounce! But anyway, time for a commercial.
Hey, if you need a badass loan, call a badass loan officer. You can reach your badass loan officers, Chris and Lee, at New American Funding by calling the numbers on the screen. But don't call right now because we will not answer. We are live on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. When we're done with the live, we will answer. This will disappear in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bye.
Hey, you know what I found out right before this live?
Which one?
Okay, so Pennsylvania flipped red.
No,
Flipped red, okay?
what?
Flipped red.
No way.
I didn't have a lot of data on it, but here's what I did here.
Okay.
Here's what I did here. For the first time, and I don't know if it's happened in the past, but Amish people don't vote. They don't, for whatever reason, they don't vote. But please share what happened most recently with the Amish people and what happened with their turnout.
Okay, so this is, yeah. They got raided by the government. Why? I don't know, because they're selling unpasteurized milk. That's what the government said. Hey, y'all can't sell so give me 2 Amish names. Jedediah and... Dude.
I don't know.
Dude, you're racist as hell. You don't even know.
I don't know. Is that a race? Is Amish a race?
I don't know.
Is it a
Anyway,
religion?
so Jedediah is making milk, and the feds come in, kick the door, the Fed style. The Fed style, they don't like, hey, can you stop? They're like, no! So, boom! And they shut him down, and they pissed him off. And when the time came to elect, they changed the game. That's what happened. That's like legitimately happened. I think they said 40,000 Amish. 50,000. 50,000 Amish registered. 50,000.
voted, and they don't vote.
50,000.
For whatever reason, they don't vote. But 50,000 of them came out of the
Dude,
woodwork
you
in this election.
I couldn't believe that, man. That's just mind-blowing. So, anyway,
What's up,
good.
Cali Golf Pro? So what's
So-
really cool about this is they've set a precedence to be able to go, you know what, Jedediah?
Yeah.
We got to go every 4 years now.
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel.
There we go. Jedediah and Ezekiel.
He says, hey,
We can't come up with-
Jedediah. Yes, Ezekiel. We need to go every 2 years because of
Yeah.
the Senate changes, too.
Yeah, cool.
So they've created a precedence, and they created a problem for themselves that now gives the opportunity for them to have a voice because they got the door kicked in. So good for them.
Grace, are you saying it's a good time to buy? Let me give you the macroeconomics, okay? There's part of it that says, hey, there's finance. And that is a big part of it. But it's not the only part. It's not the only part. You also have to look at supply, demand, and what's happening on the macro real estate level. Here's what's, if you really look at the numbers, there's a housing shortage. Why is there a housing shortage? Well, because people can't afford houses, so instead that 30-year-old, instead of starting a family, he still lives with mom and dad. 30-year-old, do you think he wants to? Of course he doesn't want to. No, he doesn't want to. But he has to because he can't afford it because they can't make enough money to do it. So, is it a good time to buy? Well, if you're able to buy and most people are not, now you have an asset that once the economy gets right, people are going to chase that asset. Is it a good time to buy? It's usually a good time to buy when you are ready to buy. Don't try and time the market. If you are able to buy and you have the income, the assets, the need, then it's a good time to buy. If you're trying to go, hey, it's a good idea, save that for the hedge funds. And the hedge funds are buying right now, by the way. They walk in and the hedge funds buy way different. Navy Mom Donna in the house. What's up, Navy Mom Donna? So the hedge funds walk in and they're like, hey, you want 500,000? The average person who's buying goes, we take 490. We take 490 and maybe can you fix the roof? The hedge fund goes, you want 500 grand? Cool, buy. That's what the hedge funds do. Are they buying? They are buying so much that they're trying to pass laws to stop them from doing this because they're holding neighborhoods hostage because they're owned by people who can write big fat checks. So, is it a good time to buy? Hedge funds are buying. It always boils down to, are you ready to buy? Because if somebody's saying, hey, I'm really worried about my primary residence, I think it's a good time to buy, I think it's not a good time to buy. Here's what I know. If, let's say you bought even in the worst possible scenario, 2008, okay? And you got it in there and you're like, hey, listen, I make just enough to pay $2,000 a month. All right, cool. And my house is worth 500 grand. All right, cool. So I bought a $500,000 house, 200 grand. Now I move my family in there. I move my wife, my 2 kids, my dog. We now go to school. We've built a life. Oh no, the house is worth less. Guess what your payment is? $2,000 a month. You can afford it because we wouldn't put you in a house if you can't afford it. So the house is less on paper. All right, cool. That sucks. Everybody else is buying for cheaper. That sucks. But my family's still in that house, and we're still living in that neighborhood, and the dog still has a place to play. All right, cool. Then you wait 4 or 5 years, and all of a sudden, hey, the neighborhood's back. Was it a good idea to buy? You built your family. If you're just waiting on the sidelines forever, you will forever be going, hey, prices are too high or rates are too high. One of those two things, because they go like this. They're inverse to each other. So if it's a good time to buy, if it's a good time to buy for you.
Grace? Yeah. Don't try to time the market, Grace. Yeah. Do not try. If you're going to raise your family there, like he said, give a dog a place to sleep, a place for your kids to play and build relationships. Don't try and time the market. If you're going to stay there for the next 10, 15, 20 years, you're going to build that equity. You're going to get the tax write-offs. You're going to have something to call your own. You're not going to have a neighbor that shares a wall with you that's making a lot of noise and playing loud music. Is that what you're going with? Is that what you're dealing with right now? Well, we don't share a wall, but the music's loud.
Is it loud?
Yeah.
I have a lot of people
might still have these issues.
So wait a minute. I need to hear this clear because there's somebody that I know that is watching on this that is dealing with the exact same thing. You have a neighbor that's playing the music way too loud and way too long. Is that right?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Way too often.
Too often.
That's what causes the.
Yeah.
That's what causes that.
It's crazy.
Now here's what's funny about it is that it's a house. Okay, right next to me there's an in between place for truck drivers. Okay, they're all like 25 years old. They're all men. They're all Middle Eastern, and they are very nice to me. They're very nice and respectful to me, to my face.
Yes.
But at about 9 o'clock,
with a few beers in them, they're like,
boom,
Chris,
boom, boom, boom,
I dare him to come over here.
Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Now, never saw a girl go in and out of that house. Never saw a girl. So there's that piece. Okay?
Oh no! No! I don't even know what you're saying, but I'm gonna leave that alone.
Lower the music. And they're like, we're sorry. But it doesn't stop the next day. Boom, boom,
Oh,
boom,
shit.
boom, boom, boom. Like, did you forget yesterday, man? Saturday night, I don't care. Friday night, I don't care. But on a Thursday night, like last night, boom, 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 boom.
You knock on their door more than once?
You have to.
Damn.
Yeah.
I
They've
had
actually been reported by the HOA.
I have really?
Yeah.
I've had that happen to me like recently. I have a neighbor that he's been my neighbor for like 10 years. Good cat. And then one day he just one time in 10 years, he just went till 3 in the morning. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm there like, okay, he's never done this before. Do I need to do this? Do I need to? And I
You
just
let it go
I let that
once.
one go
Yeah,
once. I
you
let
let
that
him
one go
go.
once. But in the next day we got up and I was putting the trash out and he was right next to me. He's like, "Hey Lee, how you doing?" I'm like, "Hey."
You're like,
And I'm like,
sleepy?
yeah, I'm like, and I said, "All right, Lee, just let this one go. If it happens again, we'll start talking because it sucks when you don't get along with your neighbors. It sucks because it can be a real weird neighbor war. You gotta be careful with that. So anyway, if you don't like that, let's get you a new house. That's it. Well, you know, we should get you a new house. I think so.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll
I think
build
so.
one.
Let's build it. Cool.
Maybe I'll buy 5.5 acres of land in Georgia.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Grace, love your knowledge and energy. We are here for you, Grace. Let people know we are helping you trying to get a house and navigate the market the real way. If you talk, you go to a lot. I go into a lot of other loan officers' lives, and I listen to them for a while. And there's nothing. There's no energy. They're not like, yeah, I can get a house. Probably not. And I'm like, this sucks, dude. This sucks. If you're gonna give some knowledge, don't just tell them they suck or they can't. Don't dig in and tell them the logic behind it, the reasons. People ask me for my opinion on the direction. I'm telling you, I actually think it's gonna go up for a little bit. I know they went down for a second, but because this guy is about to fight with Orange Man, because I don't think it's over. I think it's about to start. I think that Orange Man's gonna go, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll just strangle you by slowing down your tax base, Mr. Federal Reserve. And if you don't have the money to just basically do whatever you want to, you're going to have to learn how to budget. And this guy's going to go, oh, yeah? Well, then I won't cut rates or whatever. I think there's more to it. There's a lot more to it. And I think there's going to be a lot of shakeups. But as long as the shakeups are done for the right reason, and that is to stabilize the economy and get the average guy to be able to live a comfortable life again. Because the average guy cannot. Have you been to the grocery store? I don't know if y'all are rich that are watching us. There's millions of you. But if you've been to the grocery store, it's not cheap. It is not cheap. Everything is ridiculously expensive. You know how much a half a gallon of milk costs?
$6?
Yes. 6, not a gallon. You know what that makes a gallon cost? Just math. Do the math.
$12?
You're good, dude. $12
Gallon
for
of milk's
yeah.
$12?
$12.
That was a guess. I don't do the shopping.
Well, it's half a gallon and half a gallon, so $6 and $6. It's hard to find full gallons anymore. Half a gallon everywhere.
Where did all the money in my bank account go?
I know. It's like crazy, but that's the real world right now. Where everybody's hurting. Have you seen your electric bill lately? You don't because you have solar. But I've seen my electric bill. Anybody ever have $1,000 electric bill for a month? For a month? I have. Crazy. So, around how much do you have to make to qualify for 1 mil and no DTI? No DTI.
Susan Weaver.
Susan Weaver. How much do you have to make? So why do you care about make if there's no DTI? Because DTI is debt to income. If we're not going to talk about how much you make, then your income is irrelevant. So that kind of steps on itself, but I'm going to try and answer best I can.
I think Susan's a loan officer.
I think so too. So Susan, 1.8 is going to fit into a category called jumbo. No matter where you live in the country, that's jumbo. If it's 1.1, that would be conventional conforming in some areas. It would be high balance in others and jumbo in some others. But at 1.8, you cross everybody's line into jumbo. The minute you get into jumbo, the whole game changes. You can't go all the way up to 50 DTI. I'm lucky if I can get it to work at 43 DTI, debt to income ratio. Because when you're buying a $1.8 million house, they want to make sure you got some money. And the idea that you're going to get in with down payment assistance, forget about it. Not happening. It's not going to happen. Nobody, you make too much money. You're a millionaire. You're buying $1.8 million house. So they're going to not want 5%. They're going to want 10%. 10% down. So you're going to have to put $180,000 down and closing costs. So you're going to need 200 grand in cash, and they're probably going to want reserves from you. You're probably going to want 6 months reserves from you. So that's the minimum you'll get away with. Now, if you're saying, hey, I don't want to prove my income, there's one way to pull that off. That's called bank statement program. And a bank statement program, I need to see what you put into your bank. And let's just say that you put in $50,000. Okay, every month for the last 24 months, $50,000 goes into the bank. I don't need to see your income. Don't care. $50,000 comes in. I cut that in half. $25,000 is your income. Now, here's the shocker. $25,000 is not near enough to get you a $1.8 million house. And you will need 20% down and 6 months reserves. So, hope that answered. But those guys who are buying multi-million-dollar properties, y'all know. You guys are rich. You guys are, if you're rich. You're like well off, if not rich, well off. Because you don't think, like, hey, what is that, 1.8 million? Yeah, let me look at that. You're not going, hey, I wonder if I can afford that. You can afford it. You wouldn't be in there if you couldn't afford it. So that's kind of how it works. Susan Weaver, are you a loan officer? Are you a loan officer? Grace says $2,800 a month for what? What are we talking about? You have to go back and
check this out. Check this out. I don't think there was a question. So I had a friend. Okay, do you know what Coda de Casa is?
I remember.
Coda de Casa is a community in Orange County. The Real Housewives of Orange County. It was the first season of Coda de Casa.
All right.
Multi-million-dollar properties. Okay.
Yes.
I had a friend, one of my best friends, whose older brother was rich, and I didn't know how he was rich. I didn't even know what happened.
Okay.
But what happened was, when he was making good money, not great money, probably six figures, $150,000 a year, he could barely afford to buy a house at Coda de Casa. Now, this is probably early 90s, late 80s probably, okay? Barely afford the house. Probably a $500,000 house. It was a rich area back then.
Okay.
He could barely afford it. Well, in the late 90s, he sold it for millions.
Yeah.
Millions.
Yeah.
And because of that, he cashed out and he lives a normal, basic life, but very comfortable today off of one purchase that he did in the 90s.
Yeah, that can happen. That happens to a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people are house rich, cash poor until they cash that house in. Then they're cash rich. I got a friend, we have a friend who bought a house for, what did he buy it for? About $1 million? Right under $1 million, right? I think under $1 million. And he's selling it for $2 million.
Like $7.
He's like, I think he's 1.8 million. I think it's an escrow for 1.8. He made $800,000 in probably 3 years, 4 years. Is that about right? About 4 years, 800 grand. Crazy.
Very crazy.
Crazy, man.
Ready to hit it?
Yep. What do we got?
Let's hit it.
All right, cool. You know what? We appreciate you. We have been Chris and Lee. We are out.